All right, well, hi Horizon. My name is Rachel, and today we're going to be talking about the practice of centering prayer. And I was first introduced to this practice several years ago, and I honestly thought it was kind of strange because I was so used to praying with all kinds of words, and centering prayer is not that. It is a way to be silent with God and to practice what he says in Psalm 46, be still and know that I am God. And it's coming to God with this heart posture of humility and surrender to the work that he is doing in your life. And it's also a way to remind our hearts that God is closer to us than our own breath and our own thoughts and our own emotions, and that he's at work inside of us, and that everything's not up to us all the time. And it's just a way to be with God and to rest in his love as he delights in us. Not because of anything we've done, but because he just does. And so sometimes the word be still in that verse, be still and know that I am God, is translated to cease striving. And centering prayer is a way to give yourself like quiet and space and time to practice what it is to stop striving and to stop trying to fix everything and to figure everything out and to stop talking and moving and all the things that we get tangled up in. And it's not meant to replace other types of prayer, more conversational types of prayer with God, but it's really good for deepening our intimacy with Christ and enhancing those other practices and bringing new depth and meaning to them. The fruit that's found from centering prayer is not usually found in the moment of the practice because it is just really sitting silently with God. But I've noticed as I've practiced it and as I've sat with God in this way, it makes me more likely to be aware of his presence in my daily life and his action in my daily life. And my mind is more readily able to bring itself back to him when I'm distracted by other things. And I'm able to experience like a deepening of faith in his presence, that he's actually there with me. It's really also a great way to prepare your heart if you're going to be reading the Bible or doing other types of prayer. It's a really nice way to kind of settle down, to move into those different ways to engage with God. So the process is pretty simple, though it's not always easy because we're not used to sitting still and being quiet. But the first thing that you would do is choose an amount of time that you want to sit with God. And if you've never done it before, it's okay to start with like 3 minutes or 5 minutes, and then work your way up to maybe 20 minutes eventually. But you pick a amount of time and you set your timer so you don't have to worry about keeping track of time. And then you briefly ask the Holy Spirit to help you choose a word that is going to give your mind something to go back to when you get distracted. And it can be like one of the names of God, it could be Abba or Jesus, or one of the characteristics of God, or the fruit of the Spirit. And it's really, there's nothing magical about this word. It's just a symbol of your consent to God's working in your life, or like essentially like a way to say yes to what God is doing. And if you don't want to choose a word, you don't have to. You can just kind of let your thoughts, when they wander, return to your breathing, if you want to pay attention to your breathing, or just to sort of an inward glance at God's presence in you. So once you've kind of figured out what your focus is going to be, your focus word or practice, you settle down. You sit down in a comfortable position and you introduce your focus word and you close your eyes to eliminate distractions as much as possible, and you just begin to rest in his presence and in the silence. So as you can imagine, your mind is going to wander. You're going to start thinking about things you did yesterday or earlier in the day, or you're going to think about things that are coming up and tomorrow, or worrying about things, or daydreaming, or you might even fall asleep. And all of those things are totally normal. and not a problem at all. I would expect all of that to happen, and don't judge yourself. When you realize that your mind has wandered, you just bring your mind back to your focus word and continue resting in God's presence. And even if it's 1,000 times, you just keep bringing it back 1,000 times. It's really important to try to avoid analyzing your experience. Just let it be what it is. You're sitting in the loving gaze of God, and it can just be that. And then once you come to the end of your time, you might want to sit for a couple minutes just to sort of help you transition into whatever it is you're going to do next. And that's it. It's pretty simple. And I hope that this practice is something that you can maybe add to your toolbox of ways to engage with God, and just to remember that He created you and that He loves you. Grace and peace.